Alright, so in today's video we'll be unboxing the 8BitDo Pro 2 Bluetooth gamepad, and let's get into it. Alright, before we open this guy up, I bought this because it was a good comparison for the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and I wanted something that I could give someone, mostly kids, that I don't care too much about, whereas the Pro controller is a little bit more expensive, so I care about, especially like the Smash Brothers one that I own, I care about that one getting damaged versus this, as well as this I believe will work with the Pocket and the dock with the Pocket, so that'll be great to have a controller that I can probably dedicate to that most of the time. If people come over or I need another controller, I have one, as well as we'll compare this against the Pro controller, the dog bone controller, that most people call that one for that, as well as seeing if it fits on the fixture. And I don't have the new fixture, so I'm just using my old Switch on the S1, and we'll see how that works. And we'll unbox it, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we got a better camera angle here, so let's go ahead and open this guy up. Got my little unboxing knife, as I don't know if I want to keep the box yet, so I'm going to go ahead and assume I'm going to. So we are just going to cut the little piece of plastic off here. But before we get into this, I didn't show you guys around the box. So there's the front of the box like you saw at the beginning of the video. The sides and top and everything don't have too much besides the logo for 8BitDo and the words on the top for 8BitDo logo. And so the back is not got too much on it. It shows the profile of the controller as well as the edition I have, which I just got the gray one, as well as what systems it works on and the version numbers, if any, for the different systems that you'll need. And it looks like the light needs at least 9.0 on the Switch, which I think is because they didn't originally have support for controllers on the light, but they added it. And pretty much anything else that supports Bluetooth should work with this guy. So let's go ahead and flip it back over, open it up, take the sleeve off. This is just a normal gray box, so let's go ahead and see if I can't get it out. So I do hate some of these boxes because of how suctioned they can be. And that's what's happening right now, is I have to like really force this guy to be open, which I don't like when companies do this type of box, but I'm assuming there's a reason they do it this way, maybe for shipping. Maybe this is a more secure way to ship things, but I find that most of the time it's very difficult to open up them, so there you go. So I'm surprised there was a piece of plastic here with that tight of a fit. They could have reduced the amount of cardboard here and held it in with this top piece, but there is a piece of plastic that is just covering it, and there's also a piece of plastic covering the buttons, which I think is kind of excessive, but I'm noticing these more now that they have more plastics on them. I didn't know that this had buttons. We'll get there. So let's go ahead and keep opening it up. Normal pamphlet, I'm not going to read it. And it's USB-C, and it comes with a USB-C to A, which is really nice. I like that companies do that. I kind of wish that it came with like a little adapter for the A to maybe C, but that also could just be a C to C cable and then adding an adapter for A, but it's not necessary. I don't think every company needs to have that. At least it comes with a cable. So we'll set that aside for now. Nothing else in the box that we need to worry about. We'll go ahead and peel this off. Yeah, not very satisfying, but alright, so first impressions on the feel. Let's see. So face buttons feel pretty nice. I kind of like it. They're pretty nice. The same thing with the joysticks or thumbsticks, however you want to call it. Pretty nice. D-pad is pretty nice. Not too much to complain about with most of this. The start and select buttons feel like the NES or SNES. That's really nice. I like that is the feel of the controller. I'm not sure what this button does. Maybe it's a mic and it mutes that, or Maybe it's the pairing button. I'm not sure there. But we've got the home button and star button, which I think is for capturing pictures on the Switch. Not exactly sure, but there you go. That's what that's for. Then you got a pairing button at the top. Let's see, the shoulder buttons are pretty nice. I kind of like it. They feel like what you'd get with the SNES. So that's actually really nice. I like the commitment to making it like the NES, as like more of a throwback retro feeling controller, so that's nice. I don't like the triggers as much as I thought I would. And if these are actually analog and not digital triggers, I'll be okay with this. The Switch doesn't normally use analog triggers, and so it only will understand just pressing it down and not the amount that you're pressing it down. But if this is actually a analog trigger, that would be really nice, and I would understand why it feels kind of like there's nothing there. It kind of feels like there's nothing there when you're pressing it. So those are analog. I'll be okay with that and how it feels. So we got P1, is that what it says? Yeah, we got P1 and P2, which is paddles, I'm assuming, and those are pretty nice. I like the feel of them, and the paddles are not in a weird location, so I can hold the controller and not push them, but also very easily push them, so that's really nice. I like how easy that is to use those. So I do like that this comes out. Is this? Yeah, so you can recharge it or you can use AA's if you want. I like this concept. I like having the rechargeable battery, but if this dies in the future or it's dead and I want to use AA's, I like that I have the ability to just pull that out and replace it. I wish that the Xbox controllers would come with a rechargeable battery, but still give this little panel to actually replace them if needed. And then there's a switch back here, which changes it between the modes. It looks like it's got S, A, D, and X. Those will change depending on what systems you use. And I think S is switch by default, so we'll leave it on that. And so if I had to compare it to the Switch controller feels better in the hand than this guy does. This doesn't feel light though, as well as the Pro 2 doesn't feel too light, so that's really nice. It's still got a hefty amount to it, and the buttons don't feel too much different besides the triggers. The triggers definitely feel like they have a lot going on and a lot of travel to them versus these ones. But let me know down in the comments if this uses analog triggers. I would love to know if this has actually got analog triggers, which would be a benefit and would be okay. If it doesn't have analog triggers, the triggers are really bad, in my opinion. So I might look that up and put that on the screen if it does use analog triggers, just so that I can clarify there. And compared to, using the Joy-Cons separate or in this dog bone type of controller, I think this is way better. It's more comfortable, and buttons are pretty similar. And I actually like the bigger surface of these buttons on the Pro 2 versus the just the regular Joy-Cons. And I didn't notice this before, but the start and select have plus and minus next to them, so if you can remember for the Switch. That's actually really nice. I was about to comment on that, saying that it'd be kind of hard to remember which one's which. Not too hard, but for some people that don't know the Switch, that might be more difficult, but I like that it's written on there. So let's go ahead and see if it fits in the fixture. I think it's called the fixture. Yeah, the fixture S1. So throw that on there. All right. So this doesn't fit as I would hope in, and you also get in the way of the paddles by using this guy. So that's kind of a downside with it. The fixture doesn't work with every controller, so I understand that, but I would have liked it to actually have fit. So before I drop my Switch, I'm going to take it out. Fixture doesn't work, but that's fine. This guy's got a kickstand, which is not the best kickstand, but it's got a kickstand here. And I don't know how easy it'll be to show on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and try to pair it here. We'll set it down like that. You guys can see that. And we'll put pairing new controller. Alright, so you gotta go change grip order, right? There you go. Alright, so that was pretty easy to pair, and it shows up, I think, as a Pro controller. So let's see if I go to System and I believe Controllers, and then the button mapping? No. Isn't there a test button input? Controller buttons. So everything works. Is there a default? Hold on. So the paddles don't default to anything on the Switch. It's not actually registering a click. That one was a dumb one to put in. I hit the home button on accident, so let's go ahead and go back. And not what I wanted. Go ahead and go to test controller. So we got plus and minus. I wish there was a way to know if these were analog right here, but we'll find out later on. That was a screenshot. But yeah, buttons work all well. D-pad works fine. Those click in. And yeah. So overall, I think this is a good controller for the price. It is only $20 cheaper than the Pro controller, so I don't know if I would recommend buying this yet. Let's go ahead and switch up camera angles. I'll clean up a little bit, and we can talk about my opinion on this controller versus the rest of them and finish up the video. Alright, to recap, we opened up this guy and gave my first impressions of it. I enjoy it. It doesn't work in the Fixture S1. That's fine. And I don't use it too much anymore right now because I'm using the OLED versus my actual regular Switch that I have here. So not too big of an issue there. Hopefully the S2 will have a little bit better of a mechanism to hold the controller, and maybe it can change to be able to hold different controllers. That'd be kind of cool. But as I'm going to primarily use this with the Pocket, I think it'll be a good choice. And I'll have a follow-up video on the Analog Pocket after using this with the dock and everything, and give my opinions on that. But for a Switch controller, I don't know that it's too much better than the Pro controller, and I think you get a little bit better of a grip with this. But if you're planning to use this outside of the Switch, it is great. As you saw on the back of the box earlier, it works with pretty much everything that uses Bluetooth for controllers. So Windows, Android, Raspberry Pi, Steam, which is just Windows. Weird that Steam is brought up, but macOS, the Switch, the Pocket. You can use it on lots of different systems as long as it supports Bluetooth, and I think it'd be really good to actually use this guy in those capacities, and maybe on the Switch sometimes. But if you're dedicated on the Switch, I would recommend just buying a Pro controller. If you don't have a Pro controller and you can't spend the extra $20 on a Pro controller, get it. It's better than the Joy-Cons by themselves or through this bone controller mechanism that comes with the Switch. I would always recommend using anything other than that. It is feasible to use that, but for long play sessions, this will be great, especially if you're wanting to play with some paddles. These come with them out of the box. Pro controller doesn't have that. But as well, if you use the Nintendo Switch Online retro consoles, then that'll actually be good, because this has a lot of inspiration from their other controllers that are derived from the SNES controller, and this definitely has that. And you'll be able to get the same functionality playing on the Switch, and then going to those games, you won't be having to switch between controllers or anything like that to get that type of feel. And this has a very good retro feel to it. So I do recommend that for that, as well as if you just play like the Genesis collection that's on the Switch or any other type of collection of old video games. This will definitely give you that same nostalgia feel, I think, and the benefits of a newer controller so that you can play newer titles as well. And again, I will let you guys know probably on the screen or in the description or in a comment about if these are analog triggers or not. I have a feeling they are because I don't feel a button press. So that's actually really cool, and hopefully that you can use that functionality on the Switch. I believe there's some games that actually use that functionality with the GameCube controller, so that'd be really cool to see if that actually works or not. And let me know down in the comments if you guys know if that works or not, if these are analog triggers. And before we get out of here, like this video if you liked it, dislike if you don't, hit the subscribe button and then turn bell notification on so you get notified when we upload new videos. There will also be links down in the description for all types of links. I'll link this guy as well as a bunch of other things like merch, Twitter, Discord, all of that. If they are affiliate links, they'll be marked with that, and that'll give a small portion to the channel anytime you guys buy something through those links. And let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this video, and check out some other videos on the channel. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.